Hello everyone and welcome back to Cadwell Park. It is round two, race two. It's race two of the weekend here, and I have to say the cloud has loomed over the circuit. But welcome back to the Milltek Sport Civic Cup round, of course, at Cadwell Park, a fantastic circuit in the east of the country, isn't it? We're near Skeggy, aren't we? We're fairly close to Skeggy, aren't we?
I mean, fairly close.
Close. Semi-close.
In the grand scheme of things, potentially. Yes, of course, my name's Jack Oliphant, and I'm joined alongside me by the wonderful tones of Anthony Jordan. DJ, we'll call you from now on, I think, because I keep flicking between the two. I'm just going to go with DJ. Of course, Cadwell Park, like DJ said earlier, a length of 2.25 miles, 18 fantastically complicated and narrow turns, elevation of 105 feet, which doesn't do it justice unless you are actually here in person. Established in 1934. They've been doing this for a fair old while. Of course, it used to be the Cadwell Hall ground. It got bought and they wanted to do shooting on it apparently, but it ended up being a racetrack instead. I mean, that's the forecast for the time being, light rain. Now, what I can tell you is there is no rain right now, and as the cars are starting to line up on the grid, we haven't had time to do, unfortunately, any driver interviews, but I think we got our fair share earlier on, to be fair, during that red flag period. We'll be able to bring you the full grid order, but of course it's a top 10 reverse grid, so if you do remember the finishing positions from last time out, then keep in mind that it will be a top 10, so a little bit easier than a full reverse grid. But Dan Thackeray, it has to be said, he was the driver who took the race victory in the first heat, which was split over basically two races, but he did a fantastic job. He led by about 3 seconds in the first half of that heat, and then after the red flag, the lengthy red flag, which we'll be able to bring you a little bit of an update on a little later on, an Alfie Jenkins, Dan Thackeray actually still put his head down and still managed to come out on top.
Yep, there's some live pictures then of the starting grid. You are watching at home on the Alpha Live YouTube channel and of course many other places as well. Please do get your comments in. We'd love to hear from you. Make sure you are liking it out, following, of course, any social media platforms following the Civic Cup Series this year. You can get involved and you can potentially come down for some of the race weekends. Why not? Why not?
Exactly. It's a fantastic day. Everybody here, I think, has enjoyed themselves. Cadwell Park is absolutely brimming with atmosphere and life, and fantastic fans enjoying their bank holiday Monday here with us, which is always nice to see. And although the cloud has come over the sun a little bit, it's probably mean it's cooled down just a touch.
It's not dampened their spirits.
Well, hey, not yet.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah. Let's not tempt fate too much. Unfortunately, as I said, there was a red flag incident in the first race. If you were with us or tried to tune in a little earlier on, then you probably would have seen it, but Alfie Jenkins ended up in the tyres. The driver is okay. Alfie's absolutely fine, apparently.
Is the car okay?
I believe the car is looking second hand, and I'm looking forward to seeing whether we actually have it out on the grid. Now, we were going to have a look at it in the assembly area, but because of all the different times that we're on now and everything, and it's hard to get a stream up, snap of the fingers, we couldn't quite see.
They pushed out early, didn't they, for us? But we do have a grid for race number 4. I believe the guys are just working on that for us, but we'll let you know who's going to be starting where. Like you said, a reverse grid for the top 10 only in this one, yeah. Exactly.
So Dan Thackeray, we already mentioned, he obviously took home the victory in race 1, in both halves of that race, actually. He did a very good job after an very strong opening lap in the first half. That means he'll be starting in 10th position, and then you have Ryan Bensley and Max Lewis, who also did a great job. Matt Luff is a bit of a talking point. He qualified on pole position in, qualifying for race 1 and race 3, because it's a little complicated how they do it here, but we'll take you through that a little later on. Essentially, the Heat 2 grid is dedicated to a top 10 reverse of Heat 1's finishing order, but Heat 3 is the second fastest lap time for qualifying, which happened yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, they like to throw a curveball here at us at the Milltek Civic Cup, but we like it. It keeps us interested.
Yeah, who'd have thunk it?
Exactly.
Yeah, there we go.
So Matt Luff, he obviously qualified on pole position. He just couldn't seem to get off the line in any sort of good form, I suppose. And he kept getting a little bit mugged. And obviously, early stages here at Cadwell Park are really good overtaking opportunities because it is so narrow, which is a feature of the track we'll be talking about an awful lot through the rest of this race, I'm sure. Now, it's a bit of a shame that we didn't get to go and chat to, say, the likes of Matt Luff and Dan Thackeray and stuff like that, because I would have loved to get their opinions. But they've sort of gone over to the grid to start as if we're about to start racing, about to get going, and then they're all just sat over there instead.
I know, they were too eager to get on the track. They saw you coming with the microphone. They thought, oh no.
They ran scared.
No.
We've chatted to this guy long enough. I mean, I've probably done interviews with a few of the drivers about 4 times today, because for social media interviews and stuff. They'd had enough of me at that point.
Yeah. I've had enough of you already.
I know. It's only the second race. Another driver that I wanted to have a chat to as well is obviously reigning champion Alastair Camp, who unfortunately, I don't believe he had his VTEC working, so he ended up down to 13th, and then after the second half of the race, he went up to 11th. Now, I believe there might be a little bit of confusion as to where the production class is supposed to be starting. That might be the little delay that we're having, and we can't afford too many other delays, but there's a green flag being waved at the back end. So the production class is a different classification. They are at the back end of the field, and they're put always to the back end of the field, no matter where they finish in amongst the cup category, which is why they're obviously being separated. But as the green flag waves, the drivers setting off on their sighting lap for the round 2 here at Cadwell Park. There shouldn't be that much that has changed, a few maybe oil spills, the drifts and the time attacks, but we have a starting grid. What a delight. And it is Will De Claudio who's on pole position, obviously finished in 10th last time out. Alongside him on the front row is Lane, with row 2 being Edmondson and Alp Williams. Row 3, William Redford and Harvey Caton. Then on row 4, Lewis. In row 5 is Bensley and Thackeray. My apologies. Row 6, Camp and McHugh. And then row 7, McHugh and McDonald. And then we appear to have a couple of gaps. And then 16th is Alden and 18th is Cripps. In row 10 is Gardner and Threlfall. That's, I believe that's Harry Threlfall. And I can actually tell you that Morgan Bailey's in 21st and Alfie Threlfall hopefully will be in 22nd, but we're not sure if his car's out there. And then on the front row with the production class, it's Simon Welch, followed by Reese Lewis. Then Dave Marshall in 3rd position, and Alfie Jenkins, who's the winner of the production class, followed by Louis Hansel and Mark Hughes rounding out the field. And we had a chat to Mark earlier on, didn't we, of course? Well, yeah. I did anyway, for the socials, and his car was a little bit worse for wear. That wasn't too long ago that he didn't have the front end attached to it. No, front end wasn't attached. The radiator had been swapped out. Now, there was a bit of a concertina effect at the start of the first race. Some cars not getting off the line too well, and the rest piling into the back, really. Yeah, it did result in a couple of radiators getting a bit damaged and had to be replaced afterwards, after the cars had to be retired at the end of a few laps, which is a big shame. But like you say, they've got the cars repaired, which is a good sign. Let's hope they can last, and hopefully they didn't bodge it too much. Well, that's the fear, isn't it, really? But if you want to get a little bit more of an in-depth of what happened to Mark Hughes, then you can catch it on the Civic Cup Facebook and Instagram page. We have filmed it. We sent it over to the social media managers, and it might not be up just yet because we only filmed about half an hour ago, but it might be up after this race, of course, if you want to get to grips of what happened in race 1. Hey, I'm sure Phil Kinch is on it. He's on snappy. It. He's snappy. He's quick with his socials, is Phil. He'll be working on it hard. Right, now, cars are making their way up. They're going past our commentary box. They're going up the mountain, and they're heading through into the final section of the track. And, of course, the first race that we saw, fantastic start from the second row. Of course, this time, drivers who were starting on that front row are now all the way back in 10th place. Thackeray, he had a great start in both of his races, but yeah, he's going to have a lot of work to do. I'm sure the person who's most happy out there is Will De Claudio, because finishing 10th, he's now first, but the person I suspect who's not the happiest is the number 1 plate of Alastair Camp, because he started on that front row, had a bad start, couldn't get it into the top 10 still, finished 11th, and that's just out of the top 10 order for the reverse run. It could have been a great opportunity to rescue a lot of points, couldn't it, if he started on the front row again after this race, and I think that's why he was trying so hard in the second half of the last race. He didn't quite get it, as he said. The 11th place is always the most frustrating position to finish in, but to be fair, he did do very well without his VTEC. Keep an eye on the number 1, because we want to make sure that he's actually competitive, and I'm actually excited to see how he's going to push further forward. He's actually in amongst the drivers we'd expect him to be in amongst, sort of thing, the likes of 10th place. In fact, no, I'm looking at the wrong grid, actually. That's why I was getting confused. Thackeray, Bensley, and obviously Matt Luff and stuff. So, yeah, this is going to be very exciting. Round 2 of the Milltek Civic Cup. All drivers are pretty much going to be lined up. Hopefully we'll get a green flag waved at the back end of the field, and all of a sudden the lights will be coming on. The nerves will start to rise as well, as they'll go coinciding with the engine notes The board is out. That's the 1 minute, then the 30-second. In fact, no, lights are on already. And a little bit of a creep maybe from a few of the drivers. It's a poor start from the second row of the grid. The third place man, I think that was Edmondson, who didn't quite get it. There's another Constantina effect going towards the first corner into Coppice. Not sure who that is riding on the inside, but there's a couple of drivers on the outside as well. Everybody trying to pass on the grass. I'm amazed they even managed to get through all that. The 71 of De Claudio still leads, but after that, it's pretty much anyone's guess.
Well, yeah, Bensley was almost all four wheels off the track on the start-finish line to try and get round the pack. It's very wide there goes one of the cars at the top of the hill. All the field sweep through past the seeing there's the 754 there of Alfie Jenkins just coming through the shot side by side here for second place as the 40 comes through of Brandon Lane, sorry I should say, as he comes through. Good start though from the 29, I have to say. Dan Thackeray started 10th on the 5th row, already coming through the scene here again side by side for third place as they come round Park. And they come now through the gooseneck down in towards Mansfield for the first time.
Yeah, so all the drivers still nice and close to each other, has to be said. Not too many indiscretions, not too many big bumping and barging. Nice to see everybody getting going and keeping on going as well. Now, let's have a look as they charge down towards this sort of mountain section. Now they're about to come across our commentary box, and the fight for the race lead has started to heat up. And is that the number 40 of Lane? Indeed it is. Yeah, Lane, who, I mean, normally when you do reverse grids, Anthony, you'll know better than anyone for karting.
Well, yeah.
On the first lap, quite often it gets mixed up, and the drivers at the front who started on pole and second don't stay there. These guys have done a fantastic job.
They have indeed, yeah. Out of the penultimate corner in towards Barn for the first time. We'll come to the finish line and they'll update on the timing beam. But at the moment, it's a great start from De Claudio. He's managed to hold on to the race lead for the first lap. And with 13 minutes to go, plenty of time left in this race. Lane still holding on to second place, but it's side by side and contact for second. Round goes Lane at turn 1, and it was contact without Williams. There's another car off as well in the back of shot. Unsure who that was, but yellow flags out at turn number 1. And now De Claudio has seen himself with a huge advantage.
Yeah, De Claudio not involved in that at all, but I tell you what, he'll be the happiest out of anybody to see those cars maybe come under a little bit of misfortune, shall we say, because I didn't quite see what was happening. Now, this is the number 98 machine. That's Jordan Brennan going a little bit aggressive on another driver. Didn't quite see who. I think it might have been Bailey in the number 26, but we'll have to keep an eye out on that in the sort of mid-pack, because that's the fight for roughly 13th position, a little bit further back. But look at the gap that De Claudio has on the rest of the field. Who's that jinking out to the right-hand side? And a driver going off on the outside as well. Great hold if he can keep his foot into it. It's the number 54 of Clayton. Now, we saw him come off quite a few times, unfortunately, in the first race, and I had a chat to him in the red flag. He said he was a little bit nervous, and maybe the nerves haven't quite set aside. And look at that, around the outside potentially. Great move for the red. I can't quite see the number, unfortunately.
That was Dave Marshall.
It was Dave Marshall.
Oh dear, and there's Spencer Lane. Yeah, he's coming off the track after his spin. So yeah, Mechanical Gremlins, that car going no further, which is a huge shame. But yeah, great overtake. Yeah, around the outside from Dave Marshall. Spoke to him before this race went out. Said he had a bad start in the first one because the cars in front didn't get away. He then had to stop, and then he got swamped by the pack behind. This time around, much better start, and he's making moves all the way near the mid-pack section now.
Yeah, I think he's an advocate, isn't he, for where you qualify, indeed where you put your time. Even if it's amongst the cup category, that should be where you start. But obviously you're going to if you get mugged on the start there, and it's a bit of a shame for those drivers. But I've got a great race coming out for you at the moment. I believe Brennan was making moves on McDonald's and Cripps, actually. So, but look at that. Is that Brennan's car? There's the number 33, actually.
Yeah.
That's Max Edmondson, and he's got a big problem, Max Edmondson. He's going to have to probably get that looked at. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a meatball flag flown out.
Yeah, hopefully that's not oil he's spraying down all over the circuit, because that was pouring out the bottom of the engine. And here now is a fantastic battle for the race lead. De Claudio, he's lost all that advantage that he had, and he's got a huge pack of cars all lining up behind. The number 1 of Camp is down the inside as they go through. Clive's go there, and it's very side by side. Chris's curve, and Camp's got the inside line for the first section of the gooseneck. He'll have the outside for the second, but he manages to get the job done on Lewis. Max Lewis, who started on the 4th row in 8th place, is now tumbling down the order with only 10 minutes to go, and there the smoke pouring out the back of Edmondson, and it's side by side for the lead.
Yeah, anybody's guess now as they go towards the mountain section, isn't it? And look at the smoke. It's making a very big spectacle, it has to be said. And going into the race lead, is that still No, in fact, I think there's an Alf Williams is into the race lead now, potentially, as number 29 of Thackeray has got himself in second place. I was going to point out that Alastair Camp is actually pulling Matt Luff along as well, so all of those drivers that started around the 10th place, the reverse grid drivers basically, are starting to push their way forward, and even at Cadwell Park, these Civics are really keen to try and get aggressive and make the moves happen.
Yeah, really so. Thackeray's up into second place as well, which is an incredible start. Already just going all over the track there is Alf Williams to try and break the toe as much as possible down the main straight. And as you can see there, it's slightly worked because he's opened up a slight advantage. It's 7/10 of a second to the three cars battling behind, Thackeray, Camp and Luff. Like you say, those three drivers who have worked their way through the order now and are absolutely side by side as Camp's down the inside of Thackeray, gets the move done. Thackeray on the grass, he's going to have to try and force his way back onto the track. As Luff comes down the inside, he's going to lose out on 2 positions in one corner.
Matt Luff doing exactly what he needs to do. Fantastic driving here, just attaching himself up onto the back of a reigning champion and let him do the hard work, which, I mean, if he's a reigning champion, he's probably pretty good at doing the hard work, and that's exactly what's happened. Thackeray, even though he took a race victory in the first, well, this morning, put it that way, he is now slipping down the order at Dig. Claudio went from first down to fifth in one foul swoop, essentially, as we're looking at the number 26 of Bailey.
Yeah, Bailey trying all sorts of moves there to try and get past. That's the battle for 8th place on scene. He has just managed to get past Edmondson, who's having that engine trouble at the moment. You can just see in the back of the shot, that engine is still having trouble. That smoke is absolutely pouring out of the car now. There's the battle for the top 3, still closing in. It looks like Camp's managed to get that job done, is closing in now on Amp. And where's Thackeray? Thackeray's, yeah, like you say, he's gone all the way down to 4th now. He's not managed to close in as much as possible. Only 8.5 minutes to go. There is your race pole sitter for the start of this one, Will de Claudio. Now he's all the way down now, looking like about 5th or 6th place now.
Yeah, he slipped down to 6th, I believe, actually. I think Redford's gotten past him in the Kinetic Motorsport machine. Now this is going to be very interesting for the race lead. How can Alf Williams deal with the current pressure that Camp will be putting on them? Will Camp start getting into a fight with Luff? If Matt Luff was, smart, and he clearly is, because he's done it so far in this race, he'll just let Camp chase up to the back of Alf Williams. He won't put Camp offline and worry about potentially slowing both of them down. There's a race victory here for one of these drivers. Matt Luff, I'm sure, will be dedicated to try and make it himself. Now that's De Claudio against Lewis, and that is actually a battle, well, once was a battle for Lewis. Obviously he was on the 3rd step of the podium last time out. It hasn't quite worked out for him this time, but still trying to go for that top 5 and putting in some good pace out there.
Yeah, exactly that. Only one retirement in this one, of course, from the likes of Bradley Lane out in that one in the 40, who had that spin at turn 1. Other than that, everyone else still running, albeit one not running at 100% potential, it has to be said, for Edmondson. But other than that, everyone running well. 7 minutes to go in this race. Alf Williams looking comfortable at the front, but the fastest lap of the race is a 1:39.000, and that is from your 3rd place driver, the number 72, Luff.
Yeah, that's only 7/100 of a second quicker than Camp, who's obviously in 2nd place, but it is 2/10 quicker than Alf Williams, and you can see the difference in speed now, because the pictures you'll see right now of the race lead, Alf Williams has been reined in by Camp, and I think Alastair, who, as we know, is very good at being very consistent and reigning champion for a reason, will be just wise to this one, as there's a big drift there for Redford, managed to get it all just pointed in the right direction. And Redford's actually one of those drivers that probably is hoping that the front 3 will start battling, and then maybe it'll turn into a top 5 race. But look at Alf Williams, at how much speed he gets out of the final corner.
I think it's starting to rain out there slightly. I think it's starting to rain ever so slightly out there, and of course these drivers have been racing for a fair while now. The tyres are up to temperature, the track is up to temperature, so they might be able to last if it's just a gentle trickling of rain. But if it suddenly starts to tip it down out there, they're going to really struggle on these slick tyres. But at the moment, eyes are on this battle for 2nd place as Matt Luff tries to look left, right and centre on Camp as he tries to find a gap through Park Corner. Can't quite do it, stays behind. They'll come through now down the hill, and again, very close between this through the gooseneck.
Yeah, well, the problem is now, I think if you're Matt Luff, you're probably looking at the spits of rain, and I'm sure he's probably not worried about grip levels, but what he might be worried of, if this gets a bit heavier and they have to end under safety car red flag conditions because maybe someone has a bit of an off because it gets too wet, they'll finish it as it is out on the circuit. So it's now important that Luff is the driver ahead of Camp from his own personal perspective. The rain that's out there at the moment, I mean, let's not get carried away just yet. I would probably classify this, my brother would always classify it to me, as confidence rain.
Yes.
Doesn't actually make any difference to you just yet. It's just mentally you start seeing spits on the windscreen. You think, oh, this could get a little bit dodgy. Even though your tyres are well up to temperature, like you said, the track is all rubbered in, really hot as well. This won't make any difference just yet, but it can start playing in some people's minds. It
will do indeed, but it's not playing on your race leaders' minds. George Williams leading the way still by now over 1 second now from the drivers behind of Camp and Luff, who are still absolutely line astern. The rest of the field just behind as well. Thackeray, he's not managed to close back in on this group just in front. Redford, though, with the fastest lap of the race, now into the 1:38. The only driver to get it into the 1:38 to 1:38.949 is Will Redford in the number 42 in 5th place. He's starting to close in, and there is a car in the pit lane, and it looks to be the number 14 that's in. Or
Ryan Bensley.
Yes, it is. It is indeed Bensley.
Yeah, as Luff looks to try and put some pressure on Camp, it's going to be a difficult area to overtake around this back end of the circuit, but we've seen it done, put it that way, and I'm very excited to see if these guys crack on with it. Now, apparently the area cars, Stuart Lyons was talking this before, the area cars are the team to beat, really. They very rarely don't finish on the podium, and at the moment, Camp and Luff, teammates, currently second and third. I'm sure Alf Williams, as I said, will be starting to feel a little bit of pressure. But to be fair, his lap times have been pretty decent. In fact, on the last lap, he was half a second quicker than Alastair Camp. So maybe Alastair Camp is having a little bit of, confidence raiders, maybe playing a bit of a factor. He's going off the circuit like that.
Yeah, that was a slight mistake though. Well, I have to say, it was Luff did pretty much the same thing. It'd be like, oh, you've gone off. I'll do it in sympathy as well. There we go. And I'll lose the time as well. Now this is really closing up here because Will Redford in that number 42 has latched onto the back of Thackeray in that number 29. That is the 4th place. And you can see Thackeray struggling with the rear end there. That's stepping out through Barn.
Yeah, he's throwing it all over the place, isn't he, really? That rear end is just going to keep overheating potentially, and if it overheats, it might get a bit slippery, and that's going to make the problem even worse. So maybe there's not something that's not quite right on the setup after race 1, because he was so dominant in race 1. It is slightly surprising. Having said that, Redford's absolutely thrown it through Coppers there to try and get back on the power as early as humanly possible. Matt Luff in 3rd place at the moment. Now, I remember we went and had a chat with him during that red flag. He was driving straight, but his steering wheel was at a 90-degree angle.
Right.
And he somehow managed to finish the race on that.
So tracking was just a little out.
Yeah, just a little. They did have to change the rear tyres. I think they've got that all nailed down now, because look at how close he still can't make it past Camp, but that's not necessarily the end of the world. He just wants to score good points, doesn't he, here today? George Williams is flying. There's no doubting that right now. He's doing everything he needs to do. He's only a tenth slower than Camp on that previous lap, and Luff and Camp just seem to be holding each other up. There is an argument to be said, actually, that it was almost, about a lap ago, almost a 5-way battle for the race lead. It might have been a bit of a camera's perspective, because they seem to have mellowed out and gapped each other quite a bit. But look at that, it's a massive lunge up the inside by Matt Luff on Alastair Camp through the first couple of corners, and through the mountain section, sorry, as they're coming up past our commentary booth. Looks like Alastair Camp got away with that. Matt Luff didn't make the overtake, and even if he did, probably would have been told to give it back. But yeah, that shows a little bit of intention, maybe a little bit of hastiness there with 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, well, Alastair Camp there, you saw he cut the second part then as they go up the mountain. That was only due to the contact, though. Obviously something something he couldn't avoid, but let's see what actually happened there, because coming into the first second, you just saw he had it was Luff, he had the inside line, but I don't think he had the car enough alongside for the move. So yeah, I think Camp holding on to that one, probably the right call.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I know we just saw the back end of the incident. We didn't sort of see the initial were they alongside each other. But from our perspective, it definitely looked like it was a bit of a late lunge.
Lick the stamp and send it type of move that was.
Yeah, it seems to be the last lap of the race as well, because normally in karting here at Alpha Live, we're used to seeing it count down and then go plus one more lap. But actually, it is the final lap, and Alastair Camp's going to offensive, locking up the rear wheel, trying to cock that rear wheel as well in typical Civic and front-wheel drive fashion. But look at Matt Luff trying to throw his nose up the inside, trying to put the reigning champion off, seeing if he can sort of swerve and maybe assert his dominance here, Matt Luff. It's going to be a long lap for Alastair Camp, I believe. However, one driver who is very much enjoying it will be the race leader of Alf Williams. Now, that was a fight a little bit further down between Jordan Brennan. Actually, it didn't look like it. It was McDonald.
No, that was Daniel McDonald with the engine issues. There's your race leader, though, Alf Williams, comfortable at the moment, but the battle for second place still rages on.
It does indeed. So as Alf Williams goes past our commentary booth, so does Alastair Camp and Matt Luff. I don't know if there's too many opportunities left for Matt Luff to really make a meaningful move. There's probably one at the penultimate corner. This is the final lap of the race. Of course, the timer will count down with George Alf Williams still leading the way. It looks like Alastair Camp is going to have this all sorted as long as he can get out the final corner in time. So as we're coming to cross the line, it will be George Alf Williams to take the victory in round 2 here, the Milltek Civic Cup, and it will be Alastair Camp to take home the second step of the podium, and Matt Luff will have to deal with having the third step of the podium go his way this time out. He did miss out on the podium earlier on. He'll be pleased to see that that one's actually come his way this time, but there was an opportunity there potentially to go for a race victory. But George Alp Williams absolutely flying in the second half of that race, pulled away and could not be stopped. The top 5 are rounded out by Dan Thackeray and Will Redford. Fantastic driving by all involved as well, and the reverse grid showing us exactly what it always does. Entertainment, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed what you saw here today, I think these drivers certainly enjoy being a part of it. Look at that, Alp Williams hand out the car, thanking the marshals, but most importantly, pumping his fist. Oh
yeah, definitely. He'll be happy with that one. You know, after the disappointment in the first race, you know, it was hard work. You know, started on that second row, started in 4th place, and, you know, just had an amazing start. It looked like he was one of the drivers that went to the grass at one point as well, and to try and get round the pack. But yeah, a fantastic run there from George Alp Williams in the number 5 Honda Civic, and yeah, like you can say, he's going to be chuffed with that one, and I'm sure he'll be happy when you go and have a chat with him.
Yeah, yet again, I've forgotten that's part of my responsibilities today, but I will go and have a chat to George Alp Williams, and of course production cars as well, because Jenkins looks like he's taking that victory again ahead of Dave Marshall, and then all the way down to Hounsell in overall 19th position. But I'll go and have a chat, Anthony, with a couple of our drivers and see if we can get some of their views on the race.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, the young 18-year-old will be thrilled with that one when he comes back into the paddock to have a chat with you, Jack, and of course with the rest of the grid as well. A fantastic race. We'll see how they all lined up, of course, in that one. But yeah, there were close battles all the way throughout, and I have to say we were super glued to that battle for second place, especially of how heated it got into those final couple of laps with that move that we saw down into the inside of the mountain section, where we saw Luff try to get that move done on Camp, failed to do so, didn't quite have the car fully alongside and committed for the move into the first section of the mountain, and unfortunately Camp had to take evasive action and cut the corner slightly. Whether or not that gets dealt with later on is yet to be seen, but for the time being the standings is Alp Williams, Camp, Luff taking the top 3, Thackeray crossing the line in 4th place from Redford, Bailey will cross in 6th place from De Claudio, Matt Lewis as well with Hugh, McHugh and Catton the top 10. Brennan finishing in 11th place from McDonald with that mechanical issue he looked like he had midway through that race, but still managed to take the checker flag. Jenkins crossing in 13th place. Marshall in the 99 crosses in 14th place from Cripps in 15th. Hillman will take 16th place from Brooks. Gardner in 18th. Hounsell in 19th place from Oldham, rounding up the top 20. Hughes, Lewis, Welch and Edmonton will take the top 24 spots. Edmondson, Bensley and Lane, all retirement or mechanical issues from that race. Of course, our Pitlane man will be down in the paddock in just a moment. We'll be heading down and we'll be chatting to our race winners with Jack Oliphant.
Indeed, yes, I'm here in the assembly area / podium area as well, with some very happy drivers around me as well. George Alp Williams' car He's currently just gone out celebrating with his friends and family as well in front of the first place board. He'll get his photos, but that can wait because, of course, we need to have a chat with him first. Alastair Camp's car, probably a little bit bruised. I want to see the back end of that car after Matt Luff obviously made that contact earlier on. But I think I saw them shake hands afterwards. I think all's fair in love and war. George, very quick chat with you. You must be absolutely buzzing. Race victory, couldn't have gone much better.
Yeah, we finally got a decent start. Didn't knock it out of gear on the line like last time. We had an incident with Brad Lane at the start, or towards the start of the race, but I thought that was race over from there, so we're mega happy to get the win, yeah.
You look like you were almost getting caught by a couple of these drivers, obviously very fast lads, aren't they? But then you seem to just find another gear almost, maybe a bit of a spit of the rain, and you just seem to accelerate on and you were getting quicker and quicker. Yeah,
I don't know, I sort of saw Ali and Matt behind me and I thought, right, let's just sort of calm it down a bit, think about the plan now, what's going to happen. And then I sort of realised that I've got the pace, or if I was faster than them, so I sort of stopped looking in my mirrors as such and got my head down and managed to just about get a gap.
That's always the best advice, isn't it? Stop driving in your mirrors and just make sure you focus on your race and your apexes and braking zones. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out with your top step of the podium?
Oh Christ, yeah. Sponsors, Advanced Fire Technologies, Glenesk Estate, Low Classics, Golf. My girlfriend for being, well, just insane. Parents, obviously, as well, for getting me on the grid. Everyone, all Dad's mechanics at the garage. Dave and Alastair for working on the car and supporting me. And yeah, just everyone, area as well, obviously, for getting the car on the grid and competitive. It's been a really poor last year, and we're really happy to finally get a win.
Fantastic. Congratulations on the win, George, and we'll see you on the podium in a couple of minutes as well. Now, I'm hoping to get a chat to Alastair, but he's over there speaking. Alastair, do you want to come over? Speaking to Stuart Lyons, obviously part of Maximum Networks. Now, that was a bit more like it, wasn't it? From 11th up to 2nd. Couldn't quite get the top step, but you must be pleased.
Yeah, definitely. Loads better, that was. A lot better, so thanks to the boys for sorting it out for me.
Is everything tickety-boo on it now? Is everything up to scratch?
Yeah, everything's good. Everything's where it needs to be, so we'll go again now for the last race.
I was going to say, last race, I think you're back up on the front row of the grid, I believe. Is that just a case of now it's all out for the win, try and get as many points, considering race 1 didn't go as well?
Yeah, I think we're going to do a little bit on set-up because we're getting a little bit of understeer at the bends. That's where I think Matt's owning in on me towards the end of the straights because I'm not getting the left off the bend, so I can't get off, can't get my foot down. But we'll work on that. But yeah, whoever gets in front, we'll just get our heads down and see what we can do.
And how is the back end, shall we say? Because you got a little bit of a nudge there, probably more than a nudge, I think is probably worth saying. But, you know, he seemed to not really damage the car or anything.
No, you know when you're doing sprees like that, it's hard not to come together sometimes. You are going, and I checked the mirror and I thought he was behind me, and obviously you do make that last minute move when you're behind, and he must have just gone for the move. Obviously your eyes are looking at the corner you're coming to, and I just felt the touch and I thought, quickly opposite lot, chose the grass to get out of it. And like I said, nothing malicious in it, it's just racing it. And the day he'd been sat behind me for a good 4 or 5 laps, I'd have got frustrated as well. And it's like, you need to make a move somewhere, you're running out of laps. So there's nothing malicious in it. I wouldn't be wanting to take it any further anyway, so.
Oh, brilliant. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, we'll shout out to the missus and my son, my dad for all the backing to us, and everyone that comes along really helps, spectates us, like supports us. Even people at home are getting messages all the time saying well done and what happened in the first race, and I'm like, I don't know myself, so it's just get everything. But yeah, no, everyone that makes it possible really, thank you very much.
Brilliant. Fantastic, Alastair, thank you very much. Now we're going to have a chat to hopefully our 3rd place man. We might have to record our production class a little bit later, but hopefully get a chat with Matt, as we've done many a time so far today. Matt, now 3rd place, which from a reverse grid you would normally say, oh yeah, I'd be pretty happy with that. Is there a touch of frustration?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I started 7th. I think the guy in front of me, who would have been 5th, I don't know, I missed a gear or something happened and I just got caught right up behind him and everyone went past like, you got to be joking. So I dropped back to like 9th or 10th or something, and then I spent the rest of the race trying to make my way back through. I got up to 3rd and I was literally throwing everything at Ali, and it's just
quite literally, front end included at the back of his car.
Yeah, no, I lunged up the inside into the mountain, and he said he just caught the rear end. But yeah, it was a good race. Like, it's a podium. I can't really complain. It would have been nice to get a win. I think I had the pace to get a win. But yeah, you know, there's 14 races left in the championship, so we've got a while.
And the next one coming up, you're on the front row again. You're obviously on pole position. You're hoping it probably goes a little bit better than it did this morning?
I do hope so.
Bit of a dress rehearsal, I would say. Congratulations on the 3rd position, and we'll see you up on the podium in a couple of minutes' time. I don't know if they're waiting for us or what they're waiting for, to be honest, but we can sort of make a move, and we can try maybe have a chat with Alfie Jenkins as well, because, of course, he took another victory in the production class. Alfie, can we have a quick chat yet again? We're starting to get used to this now. It's very rare that I come to a racetrack and I find someone taller than me, but here we are. We might as well give it a go. Fantastic race by yourself. We didn't see that much of it because it was so exciting between the top 3, so do your best to give us a bit of a round out.
I got a good start. I managed to get Dave off the line, which was good for me. But I was coming through some of the cup cars. I had a bit of trouble with one of them. I got pushed off the track, but managed to keep it in one piece, rejoin, and carried on. Overtook him on the same lap, so yeah, it was a great race, really. I just led it from the start. Couldn't ask for much more.
There was a big grouping up towards Coppice the first corner, wasn't there, on the off the start line? Was that a little bit scary from your perspective? Because obviously you're a little bit quicker than the back of the cup cars, but you're having to start behind them. You see them all going 4 wide almost. Was there a little part of you that maybe think, I've got a lift here because this could get messy?
Yeah, we were certainly catching up really quick, but it was just luck out of me and Dave was side by side catching them. So it was whoever out of the cup cars got out of the way the quickest was going to see me and Dave through first. So it was close, yeah, but we caught them really quick.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations on another race victory. Championship's going well for you so far. Good luck for the next race. Now, I believe there is a podium to be done. Now, I'm not sure what the hold-up is, whether they're waiting for us, but I believe we can have a chat to our second place man of the production. Dave, get yourself over here, come on. Get your face in front of camera yet again. Dave, your perspective of that race, obviously, he managed to get you off the line, I believe Alfie said. What was sort of your process? Did you manage to ever think about getting that place back?
I don't know. If I'm honest, I don't know what they were doing with the grid at the start. There was a massive gap between me and it was all a bit messy. But yeah, he made a great start, followed me behind, and then just the straight line punch of the EPs just got us down the back straight. And then we got about quarter way through the race and my pedals at the floor. So there was a few sketchy moments up over the mountain where we weren't stopped for the hairpin. So I'm sure you got that on the camera a few times.
Well, I hope we did, because it'll be very, very fun for you to come and have a look at. But I mean, the differences then between, you know, the EP3s and all the other cars, because the EP3s are dominating this championship in terms of the popularity of the car. What are the sort of technical differences, and is there a difference in driving the car? I know you probably haven't driven that many of the Civics, but from your perspective, what are you finding?
Not massive. There's not a massive difference. The rack on the FNs is better, so they change direction quicker. But we just seem to be lacking a bit of top end grunt in them at the moment. But I'm sure that'll even itself out. But yeah, I've got to say, best looking Brummie over there, Stuart Lyons. I said I would shout it out. But yeah, massive thanks out again to everyone who's helped, and K Castle as well. I didn't mention them before, but go and check them out because some really good used cars.
I was going to say, actually, before I let you go, you've just reminded me, obviously Rich Hayden's been on the phone to me as well. He's saying that we need to plug it, and apparently Stuart will be okay with this because apparently we're doing the official Civic Cup with VRRC, so any sim racers want to get involved.
Yeah, for sure. So that starts Wednesday. So make sure you tune in, or anyone who wants to get involved that's already on the grid, tune into VRRC and we'll get you on the grid virtually as well. Yeah,
on a set of course as well, that's worth noting as well because that's important. But yeah, fantastic, well done Dave. If you do that, then I'll be commentating on you with Andy McHugh, and Dave will be in charge of you as well on Wednesday, so really fun. I might go and have a quick look and see what's going on with the podium, because we do seem to be slightly delayed with it. So why don't you have a quick look at some of the fantastic liveries while I go and ask Stuart Lyons what the crack is. Right, we're going to have a chat to our third place in the production. Is it Louis Hansel? Louis, brilliant. This is the reason, you're the reason why we were running around thinking, who came third? Louis, congratulations on the third place. You have a big support here as well to enjoy the podium. How's it feel?
It feels amazing, especially as I started last because I DNF from the first race. So to come from last to a podium, it feels really, really good, yeah.
So,
the quali as well, I had a good quali as well. So.
What happened in race 1 then? Why was it a DNF?
So there's a inertia switch in the car, or was in the car, and I hit a curb and it sort of activated it and it shut the car off. So we've taken it out now, so it won't happen again. And yeah, I was running in third then, so it's good to have third place now.
I was going to say, don't worry, I did that in a Ginetta once. I put the 60 km/h speed limit on. I didn't notice for 3 laps. That's how slow I was. Third place, fantastic. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to? I'm sure there are some people over there already with their hands up.
Yeah, thank you to all the people at Jenkins Race Preparations. Yeah, they're a great bunch, and also to all of my sponsors who helped me get out and racing, and also to all the lovely members of Club 28, which is my subscription service where people give to allow me to race, and it's great. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations on the third place. I'm sure they'll take loads of photos of the podium and everything like that. I don't know if we're going to be able to show you the podium. I think they're waiting for the other cameras and stuff like that. So it might be worth, it might be worth wrapping it. Just got the signal for that. So thank you very much for tuning in to round 2 of this Milltek Civic Cup. We'll be back for round 3 in about 2 or 3 hours' time. The times are changeable here at Cadwell, but please do subscribe and like, and you'll be notified whenever we next go live.